In the heart of Africa, far from the crowds of mass tourism, is a land unique in its natural diversity. It's also home to some of the world's most welcoming people. This well-kept secret is known only to the discerning visitor, someone who wants something different from the normal 2-week vacation. The name of this land is Uganda. Visitors arrive in Uganda at Entebbe, an airport served by flights from all over the world. Although the volume of traffic is growing, the airport can handle passenger numbers easily. Getting into the country is a short and straightforward experience. Kampala is a bustling metropolis. Seat of an ancient kingdom long before colonial times, the city draws Ugandans from all over the country. These are a diverse but peace-loving people, with different faiths living side by side. To the east of Kampala, near the town of Jinja, is the site of a bitterly contested prize for early European explorers. It's the source of the longest river in the world, the Nile. A short boat ride can take visitors to the exact spot. But what starts as a haven of tranquility becomes a raging torrent just a few kilometers downstream. Here is a paradise for whitewater rafters.
Up, up, and paddles up in the air! Paddles up, woo!
As the Nile winds its way across the Ugandan plains, it passes through the largest protected area in the country. Murchison Falls National Park covers nearly 4,000 square kilometres. The variety of life here is spectacular. The plains game alone are worth a visit. But a cruise up the Nile itself from one of the lodges reveals hippos, crocodiles, and hundreds of species of birds. At the end of the journey are the falls themselves. It's here that the world's longest river is squeezed into a chasm just 5 meters wide before crashing into the broad floodplain below. Whether the falls are viewed from the bottom or the top, the sight is spectacular. A park much less visited is Kidepo. In the far north, it's the most isolated protected area in the country. But its very remoteness is part of the appeal. Like Murchison, it's home to a profusion of game, but in some of the most unspoilt, tranquil landscapes in all of Africa. At the foot of the Ruwenzori Mountains is Queen Elizabeth National Park. Along with the plains game, a boat trip along the Kazinga Channel offers close-up encounters with hippos, crocodiles, and a profusion of bird life. But what really sets Uganda apart from its neighbours is the abundance of our closest relatives, the primates. In Lake Victoria, Ngamba Island is an hour-long boat trip from Entebbe. Here, a sanctuary is home to chimpanzee orphans that have been rescued from all over the country. The island has 95 acres of forest where the chimps can live as natural a life as possible.
That's yours, my man. Chicago. Eddie.
200 kilometers to the west is Kibale, a huge forest that hosts the greatest concentration of primates anywhere in East Africa. Here, chimps can be seen as nature intended.
And after picking, they just eat. Ticks is part of the chimpanzee diet. That's why you are seeing them.
But Uganda's most prized assets are to be found here. Bwindi Impenetrable Forest is the home of the mountain gorilla. Here, organized treks bring the visitor face to face with one of the most endangered species on the planet.
From here we shall get the chance to see the silverbacks, the adult females or mothers of the babies, the juveniles and the infants.
Uganda, home to some of the most pristine landscapes in Africa. Some will come for the wildlife, others will come for the people. For others, the great forests and the plains alone are what set this country apart. For anyone who wants to escape the tourist crowds, the secret garden of Uganda is waiting, and hard to resist.
all in the family called the lemons. But I'm not really sure which ones they are.
Okay, look at it. Spoon and yeah. Stop you. I'd love to see you. Can I call? You're so cute.
Everybody at the bingo, they always say, "Merry Christmas."
These guys, they're like going at it. I'm about to.
The difference that can be it's a lacking ground. So you see the pointer down there?
Yeah.
You go up to the pointer, then down there.
Country everywhere. One, two, three.
As we grew up, the only known existing museum was the Uganda Museum in Kampala. But times have changed and new museums are springing up. Make it a point, if you're headed to the southwest of Uganda, to visit the Igongo Museum in Mbarara. And this is one of the key places that form part of our tourism excursion this year. If you want a treat to Ankole and Bachiga history, prepare to spend no less than 2 hours
and just 10,000 shillings for entry per person in the Igongo Cultural Museum. As you go through the museum, you see the evolution of the Banyankole from the Stone Age to the Iron Age to date. The Banyankole have two clusters among them, the farmers and the cattle keepers.
Crop farmer, bachiga, and cattle keepers. Yeah. Abatunji bente. Yeah. The crop farmers are abahinji. Yeah. And these are abatunji bente. So here, the gentleman was from grazing cows. You see, he has a spear for security, a stick for keeping the cows, and a pipe for smoking tobacco. So he was being served with milk. Yeah, the baby drinking in the calabash we have seen called the chukoro. And that's orjeje, a milk pot stand where we collect milk utensils. As you see, the curtains in Sika, those are the curtains, so behind our bedrooms. Yeah.
While today the Banyankole have a prince instead of a king, there once was a king, Omugabe, who enjoyed the full respect of the king.
That was Prince Igumira. He was a father to the king. Igumira was a father to our second last king, Kahaya. So the dad to the king was a special person. He was lifted as a king. So that's how we carried a king. Echitware is the litter for carrying the king. He was carried in a special way.
And there was only one more person who was carried similarly, and this was a bride. The social definition of the right Munyankole woman was as complex as it is in many parts of Africa.
Men here in the region love women of that figure. With black hair as a tree canopy. Ishoche ly'ekibunda, amiisho g'ennyonyozi, white eyes. Ebisya by'enjemeko, a long-necked pot. Amabeere g'entanga, like young fruits, small breasts. Smooth hands, a waistline, omunda h'enyabumba, enyabumba, a wasp. Hips as big as those of a churning gourd, this large calabash. Yeah. Then big legs as banana stems, amaguru g'emitumba, ekibunu ky'ekishaabu, ebigere byabeerere. Yeah, feet like for children.
External adornment was of essence, as well as seen in these elaborate haircuts for the men. The women too made braided hair enforced by cow dung. If you sound surprised, that was actually beauty. If you reach Igongo as you enter Mbarara, on the hill on the right is this monument.
The Banyoro went as far as Rwanda and raided more cows. So on their way back to Bunyoro with cows, when they had reached in Ibarwe, a solar eclipse happened. Darkness.
The darkness of the eclipse fed the Banyoro superstition, and they left the stolen cattle here.
They ran away, leaving behind the cows. After some minutes, the eclipse was done. We were able to get the cows. We were happy. We called them Endugamwiguru. Endugamwiguru means cows from heaven.
Ankole history is not complete without those royal drums representing the founding of the Ankole kingdom.
So Ruhinda Ranjunachi gave mire to the servant of Wamara, who gave him the drums. So Ruhinda used the drums to establish Nkole kingdom.